Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our story corner. Today, we're going to step into a world of fluffy clouds, green hills, and a very special shepherdess named Little Bo Peep. Are you ready for an adventure? Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage nestled at the edge of a sun-drenched meadow, lived a sweet girl named Bo Peep. Bo Peep wasn't just any girl. She was a shepherdess, and she had the most wonderful flock of sheep in the whole wide world. Her sheep weren't just white. They were as white as freshly fallen snow, with wool as soft as a dandelion puff. They had gentle eyes and were tiny silver bells around their necks that tinkled with a melody as sweet as honey. Every morning, Bo Peep would put on her favorite bluebonnet, pick up her shepherd's crook, and lead her fluffy friends out to the greenest pastures. "Come along, my little fluff balls," she'd call, and they would follow her eagerly, their bells singing a happy tune. There was Flopsy, who loved to hop, Mopsy, who was always munching on clover, and Cottontail, whose tail was the puffiest of them all. Bo Peep knew each one by name and loved them with all her heart. One particularly warm and sunny afternoon, the sunbeams danced through the leaves, and a gentle breeze whispered sleepy secrets. Bo Peep found a comfortable spot under a large, shady oak tree. The air was filled with the lazy hum of bumblebees and the sweet scent of wild flowers. "You all stay close and be good," she told her sheep, who were grazing peacefully nearby. Feeling a little drowsy herself, Bo Peep lay down in the soft grass, her bonnet shading her eyes. The gentle tinkling of the bells was the last thing she heard as she drifted off into a lovely dream. She dreamed she was floating on a fluffy cloud, just like one of her sheep, soaring high above the green hills. But when Bo Peep awoke, the sun was a little lower in the sky, and the meadow was strangely quiet. The happy tinkling of the bells was gone. She sat up, rubbing her eyes. "Flopsy? Mopsy? Cottontail?" she called out. There was no answer. She looked all around. The meadow was empty. Her heart did a little flip-flop. Her sheep were gone. "Oh dear, oh dear," she cried, her voice trembling just a little. Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep and doesn't know where to find them. She stood up, grabbing her crook, and started to search. She looked behind the big oak tree. No sheep. She peeked behind a cluster of berry bushes. Still no sheep. She called their names louder and louder, her voice echoing across the silent fields. Panic began to bubble up inside her. Where could they have gone? She thought about what to do. A good shepherdess never gives up. She decided to follow their tracks. She looked closely at the soft earth and saw a trail of tiny hoof prints leading away from the meadow and toward the whispering woods. "Aha," she said, feeling a surge of hope. "They must have gone exploring." With renewed determination, Bo Peep followed the tracks, her crook tapping a steady rhythm on the path. The Whispering Woods was a magical place. The trees had leaves that shimmered in 100 shades of green, and the sunlight dappled the forest floor in shifting patterns. Birds sang cheerful melodies from high branches. Bo Peep was a little nervous, but she was also very brave. "I'm coming, my woolly wonders," she called into the trees. As she walked deeper into the woods, she met some of its friendly inhabitants. First, she saw a squirrel with a bushy tail scampering up a tree with a nut. "Excuse me, Mr. Squirrel," Bo Peep asked politely. "Have you seen a flock of very fluffy, very white sheep with tinkling bells?" The squirrel paused, twitched its nose, and chattered, pointing its little paw further down the path. "Thank you," Bo Peep said, and hurried on her way. Next, she came across a wise old owl blinking slowly from a high branch. even though it was still daytime. "Good day, Mr. Owl," she said respectfully. "I seem to have lost my sheep. They are white and fluffy and answer to names like Flopsy and Mopsy. Have they passed this way?" The owl hooted softly and swiveled its head, indicating a clearing just ahead. Who knows? Maybe they went to see the dancing butterflies, he seemed to say. Bo Peep thanked the owl and continued on, her heart feeling lighter with every step. The woods weren't so scary after all. They were full of helpful friends. Soon, she heard a familiar sound. It wasn't the tinkling of bells, but a gentle ba. It was faint, but it was there. Her feet flew over the path as she followed the sound. It led her to a beautiful, sunlit clearing filled with the most colorful wildflowers she had ever seen. And there, in the middle of the clearing, were her sheep. They weren't lost at all. They were playing a grand game of hide-and-seek with a group of brightly colored butterflies. Flopsy was trying to gently nudge a blue butterfly with his nose, while Mopsy was surrounded by yellow ones, looking utterly enchanted. Bo Peep couldn't help but laugh. All her worry melted away, replaced by pure joy. They hadn't run away. They had just followed the pretty butterflies on a little adventure of their own. "Oh, you silly sheep," she said, her voice full of love. "You gave me such a fright." Hearing her voice, all the sheep turned and came bounding toward her, their bells finally tinkling their familiar, happy song. They nuzzled against her, buying joyfully. Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and all the others gathered around, happy to be reunited with their beloved shepherdess. Bo Peep gave each one a gentle pat. She remembered the old saying she'd heard, "Leave them alone, and they'll come home, wagging their tails behind them." It was true. Sometimes, when you lose something you love, the best thing to do is to stay calm, have faith, and trust that everything will be all right. Her sheep hadn't needed rescuing. They had just needed a little time for their own small adventure. As the sun began to set, casting long, golden shadows across the woods, Bo Peep gathered her flock. "All right, my little adventurers," she said cheerfully. "It's time to go home." She led them out of the whispering woods and back across the meadow, which was now bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The stars began to peek out one by one, like tiny diamonds scattered on dark velvet. Back at their cozy barn, the sheep settled down for the night in the soft, clean hay. Bo Peep made sure each one was comfortable and had fresh water. She looked at her flock, all safe and sound, their fluffy white wool glowing in the moonlight streaming through the window. Her heart was full. Today had been an adventure, and she had learned a valuable lesson. She learned to be brave, to ask for help, and to trust that things have a way of working out. As she closed the barn door, she whispered, "Good night, my sweet sheep. Dream of butterflies and sunny fields." A soft chorus of baas answered her. Bo Peep smiled and headed back to her cottage, her shepherd's crook in hand and a happy tune in her heart. She knew that tomorrow would bring a new day, new sunshine, and new adventures with her wonderful, fluffy, and sometimes mischievous flock of sheep. And she wouldn't have it any other way. And so, little Bo Peep and her sheep lived happily, with many more days of sunshine, naps under the old oak tree, and maybe even a few more little adventures. Thank you so much for joining us for the story of Little Bo Peep. I hope you enjoyed her adventure in the Whispering Woods. What was your favorite part? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more wonderful stories. We'll see you next time. Sweet dreams.